What's up, Vape fam? I know it's a weird time for me to do a live stream, but I think more than anything, I just wanted to vent. Anybody that tunes in, feel free to give me your personal opinion on this matter. But if you have not heard, Australia essentially banned vaping. Deb, what's up? They passed a law spearheaded by Mark Butler and propped up by big pharma, and then kind of championed by big vaping as well. Rebuildable Ryan, what's going on? But essentially what it will do is it will be a 100% pharmacy prescription model, plain packaging, no flavors. They're going to lower the nicotine count. So you won't be able to import vape products. All vape shops in Australia will close down. Any type of vape business that has been built up in Australia will essentially be shut down and bankrupted. I can't believe how fucked up this is, honestly. The talking points that they use are youth use and the black market, which this will stop zero of that. It will actually grow the black market. The black market doesn't care about the prescription model they already have set up. So now you're just going to double down on a terrible fucking idea. It's just going to make it grow. You're going to have a lot of these adults now that can't get vapor products at vape shops because all those fucking vape shops closed down. They can't import nicotine from New Zealand, wherever. Any of that can't get flavors. So those adults are going to start getting vape products from the black market, or worse, go back to combustible cigarettes, which I think is also part of what they want, even though they will not ever say that. They want all of that fucking money. Labworks, yeah, I know you're over there in Australia. That I fucking hate that for you, man. And I think you have a business involved with e-liquids, don't you? The whole thing is fucking ludicrous. Sorry, I'm a little pissed off. Just because it makes me feel bad for every Australian. Just got a new pirate hat. Hell yeah. I say definitely do that shit. Because fuck this law. And really, like, I know Legion Vapes put out a video kind of personally addressing Mark Butler, and he was way nicer than I would have been. Because I'm pretty much like, fuck you, Mark Butler. It looks like, hope US doesn't follow suit. I don't think the US will. Basically because of the results with the UK and Canada. And Australia's always kind of gone the hard-nosed route, and the US never really follows suit. But, you know, I mean, here in the US, we're already kind of fucked. Yeah, I saw Bogan's video as well. He gave, I don't have the banner for the email address. And I know, like, I almost think everybody should just flood the fucking Australian health with emails, even if you're not Australian. We're the troubled child on crack here in Australia. Something. Your government is. Australians in general are not. Through the vape community, I've like personally met and talked to so many fucking cool people in the vape world that I never would have had any chance of probably meeting. You know, be it Birdie, Sam, Tony P. There's several others. And like Birdie, you know, I talk to Birdie over the phone and video chat fairly regularly. And it's just, I don't know. It sucks for everybody in the Australian vape community. And just fuck Mark Butler. And I mean, it's a big... Indonesia never ban any kind of cigarettes, but take high tax. Cigarette products give #1 tax income every year. I mean, I don't doubt it. That's the US has that going on. You saw, you know, when they really started to crack down on vaping, the 5 or 6 states that jumped on it big time right off the bat were the states that benefited the most from tobacco sales. Diehard vapors will stay strong in vaping. I have mods and that shit for more than a couple decades. They will stay selling devices any other name like soldering. I mean, yeah, they'll definitely try whatever they can, I'm sure, and they definitely should. It's just the fact that they shouldn't fucking have to do that. Labworks has been in the industry since 2014. Yeah, I mean, even Legion was talking about somebody he knew that had invested millions in an e-liquid company. I think it was. I mean, I can't imagine if you invested millions of dollars into a business and then all of a sudden the government's just... And, you know, you get into a vape business. I don't know anybody that got into a vape business to fuck people over or anything like that, or to hook people. Everyone I've ever known that got into the vape business, even the e-liquid company, the commercial e-liquid company that I used to work for, like, I've heard the owner of that company talk about when he started it up, he wanted to help people quit smoking because he was finally able to quit smoking thanks to vaping products. So he opened a huge chain of vape shops and he opened a commercial e-liquid company. all to help people. Nobody got into this to hook kids. Nobody fucking got into this to hook people and have them keep coming back. It's all about quitting smoking. Aromas will stay. Yeah, I mean, flavorings will. It'll be pretty hard. I know that Dave Lloyd's worried that the Canadian government will eventually make it to where flavorings can only be business to business, but I don't think so. There's too many other industries that that use flavorings for them to really touch it, and there's a lot of other DIY aspects that use flavorings that you would have way more people than just vapors fucking pissed off if you tried to mess with flavorings. They have plenty of mods, flavors, wire for a long time. Mechs will last forever if maintained. Yeah, I mean, that was when the whole vape mail ban here in the US was really terrifying everybody. You know, I bought up a bunch more mech mods that I knew would last as long as I kept good care of them. I bought up a bunch of fucking wire, flavorings, nicotine. I've got a freezer full of nicotine because of that whole vape mail ban scare. You developed for a major flavor house. Nice. I'm 500K in the hole now. Jesus Christ, man. Rebuildable Ryan, I am not familiar with your channel, but once I'm done with this, I will definitely familiarize myself. I love hearing about vape channels I've never seen. Still own Labworks Vapes and 250 or 2501 Labs. Is that right? 2501 Labs? I just think it all seems like it's very much pharmaceutical. Like the pharmaceutical industry in Australia really pushed for this, and they wanted to get their claws into it. And then it's like multiple birds with one stone for the Australian government and some of its biggest industries. So if they do this, the pharmaceutical industry gets the entire vape market. Well, the entire legal vape market. Plus, it protects cigarette sales, which taxes from that. But also, there'll be pretty hefty taxes on the prescription-only vape products. So, bam, pharmaceutical gets their end of it, and the government gets their fucking take like they always do. Governments in this situation remind me so much of the mafia. It's ridiculous. Deb, I'm worried about Nick. I'm getting low. The Aussies Labs. I'll have a video up on Odyssey here. I think early next week is when I'll probably upload it. But it will go over, at least here in the US, where you can still get a hold of additive. Just increase tax by another 5% on smokes. Yeah. I mean, I don't doubt that there's a lot of people in the Australian government that think, or, you know, that want to help people as far as their health and things like that. But they have just been very misinformed as far as vaping goes. Don't put that video up. Don't wake the sleeping dog. Wow, I've got like 2 other ones. And it's on Odyssey. It can't take anything down on Odyssey. It's not going to go up on YouTube. I definitely never put something like that up on YouTube. Yeah, I'm doing well. I guess that's another thing I kind of wanted to talk about with some of you guys. Talking about doing well. I am doing well and I'm not because I had a scan on that spot. Actually, it's over here on my lungs. And it turned out to be a carcinoid tumor. Which, you know, it's kind of like if you're going to get lung cancer, like if you got no choice, you're getting one of them. It's the one to get because it's a slow growing tumor. They rarely metastasize. Most of the time they're isolated. Mine is very isolated. But I'm definitely going to have surgery to remove it, which sucks. But it could have been way worse. So kind of counting my lucky stars on that. I wish it had just been benign and we could have just monitored it, but I don't have the genetics for that. Everyone on my dad's side of the family died from multiple cancers, so kind of glad they caught it early at least. But going back to the vape thing with Australia, I don't know. Well, shit, bro, not the best things to hear. No, but like I said, it could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse, I guess. I just don't get it. I really don't get it in what's going on with Australia. It's crazy. Yeah, Mowgli, for sure. Thank you, Deb. If the mind is good, that's 90% of surviving that shit. Yeah, I mean, I've already had cancer once in my kidneys, and that worries me more. The type of tumor they removed from my kidney is like the worst kind. It's renal carcinoma type 2, and that shit is vicious. When it pops up, it grows ridiculously rapidly. Like when we found it, it was almost nothing. By the time we went to cut it out, which was just a couple months later, it had tripled in size already. So that kind of scares me. But we keep a big close eye on that one. The lung thing, I don't know. I'm not super worried about it, if I'm honest. Oh, Deb, I hate to hear that. Cicero, what's up? But yeah, with this one, I don't know. I'm relieved it wasn't something way worse. And then, you know, it's small. It's been caught extremely early. So yeah, definitely think I'll be all right. Yeah, Deb, I 100% agree with Tim B. Stay strong. And it's this kind of stuff we're talking about, that if you just let vaping do its thing after a few decades, you wouldn't have so much of this talk about lung cancer and throat cancer and shit like that. Joshua, what's up, brother? I just really like, as soon as I heard the news this morning, then I watched Legion Vape's thing, then I watched Bogan's thing. I just wanted to go live to vent and bitch and then just see what you guys think about it as well. I was hoping we'd get somebody like Labworks in here that's actually over there and, you know, hear their thoughts on the matter, because I think it's fucking ludicrous. And it's all to protect money. 20 years, zero cancer from vaping. Yeah, even like when I got this, carcinoid tumors are not generally caused by smoking even. So like talking to my pulmonologist, and he was very kind of anti-vaping, but because like when I got in there, I was the first person he ever met that did like, you know, the big rebuildables thing, made my own e-liquids, all that stuff. He actually read up a little bit more on it. He was not even aware of the control trial study done on vaping. And it didn't fully change his mind, because he's, you know, he's a pulmonologist. So he's like, hey, no foreign particles should be constantly breathed in. But he's definitely now more in favor of vaping than he ever would be of smoking. But when I asked him about that tumor, he said he was like, the carcinoids is all genetics. It's a mutation in DNA. It's all genetics. He was like, so even, you know, your 20 plus years of smoking didn't really caused this. I'm sure it didn't help, but it's not the cause. He was like, and from all the stuff he's been catching himself up on vaping, he's like, I can't reasonably say that vaping would cause any type of lung cancer, which is crazy to hear from a pulmonologist. Like I said in Legion's video, they willfully made a choice outside logic and cutting out the citizens. They did. It's like they tried to slide this shit under the table before anyone had a chance to, you know, really get their voice heard. Yeah, Deb, I wish it was around 20 years. If it had been around 20 years earlier, I never probably would have smoked. Because that would have been what, like 87? Yeah, I never would have smoked. Never would have picked up cigarettes. Who I cannot remember her name. She's in the Australian Parliament, but she's pretty pro vaping. I'm curious what her thoughts on this whole insanity is. But she's like one of the few that I've heard speak up in favor of vaping and the vape industry over there in the Australian government. God, I wish I could remember her name. They also released the National Tobacco Strategy. That's her, Fiona. Thank you, LabWorks. All right, so I have not seen this either. The National Tobacco Strategy 2023 to 2030. I definitely need to look that up. I mean, if they were smart, their tobacco strategy would be support vaping. Go off the UK model and watch your smoking rate plummet. Cicero, take it easy, brother. Hope you have a good day at work. And I mean, it's kind of, document looks like it was written by Bloomberg. It probably partially was, or at least one of his organizations. They seem to have their dirty little fingers in just about anything involving tobacco or vaping. I really hate that those two get intertwined. So many countries just lump tobacco and vaping together. Thank you, sir. Hang on. Well, where in the hell did it go? There we go. Bam. Strategy to improve the health of all Australians by reducing the prevalence of tobacco use and its associated health, social environment, economic costs, and the inequalities it causes. Hmm. We're not gonna read through all this. This is 46 pages, but I definitely want to go through some of this. There's the youth thing. Hmm. Oh, thank you very much. It's so sad for Australia. Serious bullshit. It is. It's definitely serious bullshit. I know Bogan's saying, you know, his channel is not going to go anywhere. He's going to figure out ways to get reviews done and all that. And it's going to be the vape industry in Australia. It's going to be underground pirate vaping. I've read the whole document. I'm sure you've got an Australian business that involves vaping, I would 100% always read every last word of things like this. I am definitely going to go through it. Because I hate that. Like, it's just ridiculous. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. Did I pick up the... No, not yet. I ordered this right. I got this, the Matterhorn. So, and I also pre-ordered the Pulse V3. So, haven't gotten around to ordering anything else, but I definitely want it. I've been looking up more on it. I watched a couple of reviews on it, and it looks really good. And I got this. Blaze Solo. Review for this should be up tomorrow. And then the review for this hopefully will be up on Thursday. And then I've got a few other things. I've got the Kylan 3 is on the way to me at the moment. The two, I ordered 2 of the Pulse V3s, a couple of different colors. And then Dot Mods and what is it? Is it Smo-Ant? They both have sent something they want me to review. I'm sure it's a pod of some type. Sometimes I want to tell some of these companies just no. Like pod reviews do the worst on my channel for the most part, at least initially. Like later, as they sit, they do. They're some of the best viewed, but initially they don't do much. Got the Blaze on my recommendation. The Blaze RTA is amazing. I think it's it's one of my favorite RTAs ever. So, and I've built up the Blaze Solo once. I didn't have two. I know some people have been having wicking issues with it. So in the review, I'm definitely going to go over wicking in as much detail as I can. But it's really, you just don't want to pack that wick channel very tight at all. It needs to be, you know, the way I do it is I made the wicks extremely thin and then laid them in there nice and loose, and it wicks beautifully. Pods are great for beginners though. My son quit smoking on a pod system. Yeah, I mean, I say that about pods, but I'm also of the thing of, if somebody wants to send me something to review, as long as they understand I'm not taking money for it and I'm not using any of their input, like that, whatever my opinion of it is, that's what it's going to be. And I've already pissed off one company that sent me stuff to review because of that. But you know, it is what it is. But if you're willing to send me stuff, I'll review it. But I know like Dot Mods, every single one has said, you know, hey, you know, there's pay in this if you want it. And when I'm like, no, the tone of the conversation changes. They're super nice and friendly, and I mean, most of them have been super nice and friendly, even when I'm like, no, I'm not taking money for it, and I really don't want your input on it. Just send me the device, and then there you go. But a couple of them, the whole tone of the conversation drastically changed. Where I said I had my pirate hat on, helping Sam. Hell yeah. I mean, I would love to help Sam and Legion Vapes. There was any way I could help send stuff, sneak it in, I would gladly do that. Sounds like they're going to get even stricter on all that, but I mean, hell, they've been getting disposables that are unapproved and all that in there, and they always will. Black market's just going to explode. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. It's all money, but if it wasn't all about money, you would think they would look at it and say, hey, this prescription model with nicotine that we did really caused the black market to blow up. This is probably a terrible idea. And disposables are like the #1 thing that youth are using. Maybe we should strip that and then actually maybe do some more strict laws as far as disposables themselves go. And then leave the rest of the industry be. But no, they double down on an absolutely horrible fucking idea, and it's just going to cause the black market to explode. But that, I think, is they don't care about that side of it. It's all very much money. Everything's fucking money. Well, the ban is on hardware, flavors, pods, nic caps, disposables. Yeah, I mean, it is on disposables, but the black market has been thriving in Australia. The way I understand it, the ban's on everything that's not going to be basically approved, sold through a pharmacy, plain packaging, no flavors, no more vape shops, nothing like that. I've had 40 emails so far today and about 60 calls. Yeah, I would imagine, man. Especially you got a business going on with it. I would definitely imagine. I would say that there's a ton of panic going on in a lot of vape businesses in Australia, and that fucking sucks. I don't know. I have a very negative opinion of disposables anywhere. I don't hate them necessarily if there's something, because I know a couple of people that they never would have quit using vaping was it not for disposables, just because they don't want to deal with even a pod system. They just don't want to deal with that. They want it to be like cigarettes, where they just go to the store, they buy one, when it goes out, they throw it away, and then they get another one. But on the other side of the coin with that is they're ridiculously wasteful. And they're just, I don't know. They seem to be the thing. I'm not huge on just for the youth vaping thing, because I always think about how do you shut that shit down. I don't like any, and then I'm alone in this, I think, in the vape world. I don't like the thought of any vape products being sold at like a convenience store or a brick and mortar place that's not a specific specialty vape shop, because those are the places that kind of have the weak links, and you end up with youth being able to get a hold of vaping products they should not have. Vape shops tend to be a lot more strict because their business is on the line and they're constantly under scrutiny. So ID checks are a lot more hefty at brick and mortar specific vape shops. A friend of mine that owns one here in town is diehard about it. There's a big sign on the door that says, we don't care if you're 90, you need to have your ID ready to be able to buy anything in this store. Labworks, yeah, they do. That's kind of the Bloomberg thing right there. Closed systems, pharmaceutical manufacturing, so all that money stays within the pharma industry. They do not want open systems at all. I love tinkering, and vaping is a lot of tinkering. Yeah. and they should check IDs. Yeah, I mean, any place that sells vapor products needs to fucking check IDs. But I think that's why it's a bad idea to sell them in like a convenience store or a department store or a grocery store. I think it's a terrible idea because it's not so much of an oh shit factor for those businesses. And you end up with a lot of people employed at those businesses that are not fully educated in vape products. My sister works, she actually is kind of high up in a local chain of convenience stores here. And there was a case of a lady at a convenience store that sold a disposable to, the kid was like 13, something ridiculously low, because she thought it was like candy because of just the way that it looked and the box that it was in. She just thought it was like a candy thing. She didn't even pay attention to the fact that it was a vape, because apparently they had them up. They were behind the counter, but they were kind of up above the register. And I guess she was new, but that's kind of the thing. She's not working in a vape shop. So while that is a very boneheaded fucking move, I can almost understand it. But if everything was just sold in brick and mortar vape shops, as far as, you know, to look at that law, I still think online sales, if you had one specific age verification database, would work as well. Well, that explains a lot right there, Labworks. Former health minister is on the board of directors, shareholder of Liber Pharma, and they make a pharmaceutical vape. Yeah. Again, it's all about money. All this shit is all about fucking money. So I never believe any politician really when they talk about the health of people or even the health of youth when it comes to even tobacco, but you know, mostly vaping, because they don't really care about that. It all boils down to money. It all boils down to campaign contributions. It all boils down to re-election. It's all about money in the end. And that's one thing the vape industry as a whole doesn't have near enough of. I still think the vape industry should have organized very early on. But because it was so many small independent manufacturers of various things, that just never happened. But it would have been nice to have one big organization behind vaping when all this shit started to go south. A device and 4 pods will cost you $70. That's ridiculous. I almost hope nobody in Australia goes for those pharmaceutical vapes. I really do. Like, I hope their sales are shit. And I hate saying that because it's a vape product. It's still a vape product. Still way better than cigarettes, but I would rather somebody go to the black market than fucking that kind of shit. Lord. Money in politics is ridiculous. And then it turns around and hurts everybody. Money for businesses that have enough money to influence politics. The doctors are recommending this shit. That's fucking bullshit. Wouldn't recommend regular vaping, I'm sure. But now that they have pharmaceutical sales reps coming into their office making contracts with doctors about these, then the doctors are going to start recommending them, because again, it all fucking boils down to money. Just a giant money cycle. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know what the answer is. in Australia either, because I don't think the black market getting exponentially worse is going to reverse the situation over there. I just really don't. I haven't met a doc yet who agrees with my vaping. My personal MD, she actually does. She's the only doctor I have that does. My pulmonologist wants me to quit, but he's a little more up to date on the current science surrounding vaping than he was before. But he's a pulmonologist, so you know he's never gonna back vaping, I don't think. But now my family physician, she's actually pretty pro vape, but I think it's just the hell, man. I'll come out of retirement, start mixing commercially again. Hell yeah, I don't blame you. Don't blame me one bit. But yeah, my family physician she's pro it, as far as she was pretty much like, yeah, whatever keeps you off of it. She was a little bit more up to date on the science and studies of vaping, but I don't see her recommending it to people. I really don't. But she doesn't seem very anti-vaping. It's just unfortunate. There's so much misinformation out there about vaping that people just swallow hook, line, and sinker. Changing my name to Walter White. Say my name. So glad I started mixing my own because of the bands here. Yeah. That was a lot of the, like, just on the channel doing the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Vaporverse stuff, was they started all those crazy flavor bands. And a lot of people just didn't even know how to get started in DIY. And it's really not hard. Even if you don't want to build your own recipes, there are tons of good recipes out there for any flavor profile you can think of. Just got to know what you need to mix them all up. Breaking Bad Australian style. Coleman, yeah, I mean, that's the wise thing to do, is just don't say shit about vaping to your doctors. Not at all. I unfortunately did early on, before everyone was super anti-vaping because of my Crohn's disease, because I had a doctor that was really wanting me, I had a gastroenterologist that really wanted me to quit smoking. And once I finally started using vaping, I was dual using, but I just told him I was just vaping, basically, so I didn't have to hear about it. And he was okay with that as long as I was committed to quitting vaping as well. But yeah, that kind of stuck in my permanent file. So now anywhere I go, but now it's never hurt my insurance. But I do know of a lot of insurance policies that it certainly fucking will. Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna get worldwide coverage for this whole Australian bans vaping, because they're the first, kind of major industrial country in at least the English speaking world and European language world to really do it. Says, hey, Sorty, you got the Sith RDA also. What's your thought over the spitback thing? I don't get spitback on it. I mean, I've got the oils I've used in it so far. It has a 0.22. I think it comes out to 0.21. Alien in here, and I don't get any spitback off it. Then I had a triple core fuse Clapton. It gave me a little bit initially, but once the cotton broke in, that quit. And then I've had a 0.3 Alien in there. I think that's all I've used, are those, in various size, between 3mm and 2.5. I haven't really had any spitback per se. A little bit off the 0.17 fuse Clapton, but once the cotton broke in, that completely stopped. Just lower the coil or take the 2.5. Got a 3 in now and spits back like a motherfucker. That sucks. How high is it in there? Yeah. Pretty low. I don't have the up close cam set up because this stream was very much reading and hearing the news about Australia, and I got pissed and was like, fuck that, I'm gonna go live and let's talk about this shit. But yeah, it's pretty low. I have it pretty low. Sucks living in this nanny country sometimes. Such inconsistency in health rulings. So clearly not about any health. Yeah, it's all about money. That's pretty much, that's going to be the one conclusion that we've come to today, which I think we all already knew, is that it's all about fucking money. It's all about money and greed. You have it up like 3/4 millimeter of mine. Yeah, I would just lower it. Because like I said, and that's about the height of every build I've had in the Sith. Like I said, that 0.17 triple core spit a little bit. But I also wick it a little thick. Oh, 3 to 4 millimeter. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would just I'd lower it, like you said, and give it a go. I really like the Sith. It's basically a single coil Asgard Mini, but I still wish it had an 810 drip tip and maybe a 510 adapter. The strictly 510 is just not really my jam. $16 billion in cigarette money went to the government just this last year in taxes. As if they'd want that gone. Yeah, that's the same thing over here in the States. Like when the whole vaping oh shit thing happened here in the United States, you had California, Michigan, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Illinois, all jump on this. Like, we got to crack down on vaping. We got to ban flavors, all this stuff to get that vaping number lowered, because they made so much money in cigarette sales, basically from here in the US, the master settlement agreement. They get money from big tobacco for the amount of smokers that they have. So anything that really comes in to crack that down, they're kind of fucked. And not all of those states, but most of them that I just mentioned also had borrowed money on futures, like the future payment of the master settlement agreement. So if their smoking rate went down too much and then they made less off the master settlement agreement, they were basically going to have to pay out of pocket for the remainder of that loan that they had already taken out. So again, money. I don't know. Let me see. It is. It's a little up, but it's about spot on. I don't know if you can see it in this camera. The coil is about lined up perfect with the airflow cutout. Little bit low, but if you look through it like this, it's just all I see is the coil. Die-hard vapors like us will never quit, and we're in high numbers. I hope that's always the case. Actually, it was 12 billion vaping, cut 5 billion out of the figures. 3.8 billion in illegal tobacco sales tax. Mine is way higher. Gonna have to try and fix that. Yeah, that's probably where you're getting spit back. If it's way higher than that, Because I normally keep it to where if you put the airflow insert down and you look through the airflow insert, all you see is coil, or just barely above that where I'm getting a little bit of undercoil, but still mostly coil when you look through it. Joshua, I have to agree. That is pretty much what it is. We're not citizens. We're basically a commodity. I love the precision of the cutout and how this is with this. It is such a well-designed 3D printed mechanical mod. I think it's too much undercoil as fuck. Yeah, if you got it that high, yeah, it probably is. Larian Steel, oof, just watched Bogans and I'm fighting tears of rage. Yeah, that's why I started this live stream. I was just so pissed off that I guess I figured I would spread the rage around. And then I just wanted to hear what everyone else was thinking about it, which I figured would be very similar to what I'm thinking. But then I was also hoping we would get someone like Labworks in here from Australia that's basically knee deep in the fucking mess the Australian government has made and get their opinion of it. Because, you know, I'm only seeing it from the outside. I do not have all the information. Not at all. And it's kind of the same thing when people talked about the vape mail ban and flavor bans here in the US. It's a little different just because of the way it was set up. But you wouldn't know that unless you're pretty much in the thick of it or done a lot of research. But it's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Australia baffles me sometimes. The Australian government baffles me sometimes. Not just in vaping. Any idea how much a vape from a chemist costs? You talking about in Australia? Vaporworks was saying one with 4 pods was like $70. 17% and 5% each year for the next 5 years. Jesus. They're talking 20% on vaping products. A small device, 4 pods, $70. That's nuts. And I'm sure it probably works like shit. And they taste like ass. Yeah, there you go. Oh, Lord. I hate it for, more than anything, I hate it for Australian vapors and Australian smokers that may have potentially become vapors, helping their health and extending their lives. Probably not going to be the case now. There's really no benefit. I mean, there's a benefit, but there's no incentive for smokers in Australia to switch to vaping now. Now they have to go specifically to a pharmacy. We understand it has to be prescribed to them as well. That's a lot of hoops to jump through to try and quit smoking, when really the process needs to be made as easily and convenient as possible for smokers. It has to be easier and more convenient, at least starting out, than, you know, or as easy and convenient as just going and buying a pack of cigarettes. And any type of pharmacy prescription model is not that. I'm curious, Labworks, how is like tobacco harm reduction, or not tobacco, nicotine replacement therapy done in Australia? Is it like the US where gums and lozenges and patches are essentially over the counter, and in a lot of places just out in public aisleways. I only offered you $7,500 per recipe with no kickbacks. Yeah, fuck that. But I'm in the middle of getting citizenship in Australia. Couldn't be worse timing for all this crap to happen. Yeah, I think it would. I mean, unless I just had no choice, you know, job wise or whatever situation may be. But if it was just because I was like, hey, I want to move to Australia, this would give me pause about that decision. You can buy it if you're over 21 at the supermarket. Okay, yeah. See, that's ridiculous. All that stuff is easily available. Or you can buy it if you're over 12. Yeah, all that stuff being easily available, and yet they crack down on vaping. Yeah, sorry, my dyslexia kicked in. Yeah, 12, not 21. That's nuts. And yet you want a stranglehold on vaping. Aaron, it's not all in effect immediately, but I don't think they've announced how quickly it's going to be implemented yet. I think that's tomorrow. We will know. Yeah, we'll know more in the morning. So yeah, sounds like tomorrow is when you find out how quickly it gets implemented. Because like Bogan said at the end of his, he was like, buy up all the nicotine you can, buy up all your favorite e-liquids. If you DIY, buy up nicotine, buy up flavorings, all that stuff. Get stocked up. I would definitely recommend that as soon as humanly possible. Said, I'm a chemist, it's for a job. Plus, I can freely drop the C-bomb in conversation there. That would be a benefit, yeah. Just pray the US doesn't follow Australia's example. I mean, it's been talked about here, but it's usually shut down pretty quick. Even with politicians, it's kind of shut down. I smoked at 12, but we got ours from cars parked at the mall when we couldn't afford them, from the machine at Brigham's. I remember being 13 and buying cigarettes out of vending machines. It's just crazy. I mean, I'll probably do another one of these in the next couple of days once more information about it comes out as far as when they're going to implement it. And once I read up more on like their national tobacco strategy, talk more about it, or I may do, I don't know, I probably won't do just a straight up video because I like the interaction when it comes to topics like this. So it'll probably definitely be a live. And at 10, I would go to the 7-Eleven and buy them for my dad. I don't doubt it. You probably could have done that most places here in the state of Kentucky back in late 70s, early 80s. Definitely before that, but for the late 70s, anybody. You could have been 10 and bought cigarettes in the state of Kentucky very easily. Yeah, just watch Bogan's video. Perfectly communicated. Sucks it's not something that gets voted on. I agree. Used to send my kids to the store for my cigs. If I'm awake, I might jump on with you. All right. And I used to send my kids to the store for cigs. Yep, I don't doubt it. I've known plenty of people. I have a lot of family that live in eastern Kentucky up in the Appalachian Mountains, and They were well known for doing that stuff. Or just in the town most of my family on my mom's side came from, there's only like 2 convenience stores, and so parents would just send kids down to get their cigarettes, and I think sometimes alcohol. That works. I like to fuck shit up. I think all Australian vapors need to have that attitude at the moment. Just fuck shit up. It's getting ridiculous, and it's getting fucking annoying. Never sent them for alcohol. I mean, we're talking some Eastern Kentucky mountain folks. They don't give a shit. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I fucking hate it for Australians. I really do. A big part, like, I really hate it for, I hate it for anyone in Australia that has, made a living out of the vapor industry. Even people like Bogan and Legion. I mean, they've made a living off the vaping industry. And this threatens that livelihood. Let alone if you're someone that has spent millions of dollars to build up, be it a hardware or e-liquid business. Again, like Tony P with Zero Mods, I'm curious as to what he's going to do. Labworks develops flavors for the vape industry. It's totally a gut punch there too. It's just anybody that in Australia that makes a living off the vape industry, this whole rule is just pulling the carpet right out from under them. It's ridiculous. And a little vile, actually more than a little vile. Especially considering this is basically the big pharma saying, nope, this is ours now. Yeah, Deb, it is. Their livelihood's just ripped away from them. And not like through competition, just through a fucking law change that says, no, they're going to do it now. You go away. Used to be a development manager with Mullenberry. Nice. I love me some Mullenberry flavors. Well, not all, but a lot of them. Mullenberry's milkshake bowl. That is. I was trying to think of what my favorite Mullenberry flavors were now that you said that. Shape Up Pear is definitely one. Glamour Chocolate is another one. Mullenberry milkshake is probably my all-time favorite from them. What else? Melty Caramel's good too. They have a lot of good ones, honestly. But yeah, hopefully, I don't know, the whole law, it's going to go through no matter what, is the way it's definitely sounding. So I hope Australian vapors have time to basically build up a stash. And then hopefully we can figure out some way to all help each other out and get stuff to the Australian vape community when they need it, if it's possible. It is a sad day for Australia, not just in the vape community, but as a whole for Australia. I think it's a sad day because it's a glaring example of the fact that the government does not really give two shits about its people. Be driving subs between New Zealand and Australia. I have not tried the pineapple lassie. I'm not huge on pineapple for one. But I'm willing to try other, because I love pineapple in real life, but pineapple flavors, I haven't really found too many that I really, really like. Full of liquids and nicotine. Hell yeah. But yeah, it's a sad day for Australians for sure. Not just Australian vapors. I don't think a lot of people in Australia probably that aren't vapors, have nothing to do with vaping or smoking or anything like that, realize just how much this shows. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but just how much this shows that the government does not give two shits about the health of Australians. And that's sad. And I mean, it's the same here in the US. Government doesn't give two shits about the health of Americans either. Bookmark this video. All right, done. That's the shame, is that most AU isn't in the vaping community, probably has no idea. But they may have an idea, but it doesn't really strike them, you know, the way that it should. And there's no reporting of like the other side. It doesn't seem like there's definitely not much of it in the US, and I would imagine in Australia it's probably even less, if just non-existent, as far as reporting of the other side of it, talking to vapors and how this is going to affect them, talking to vape industries, how it's going to affect them. You know, is that being displayed across Australia to people? Australian vapors are quite lazy. Well, yeah, that probably doesn't help either. But just reporting wise, from a journalism stance, showing both sides, I don't think that happens. And it should. I don't know, guys. It's fucked up for sure, and I hate it. Very much how it is here in the US. If you aren't active in the community or the spouse of someone who is, you've only heard of all the FDA, WHO lies and none of the science. Yeah, my wife was like that. My wife doesn't smoke, doesn't vape, never smoked. When we got together, I was still kind of a dual user, and then I fully switched to vaping, and she knew nothing about it. And then as I got more and more heavily into it, and then decided to do the channel, she kind of got a little more educated on the matter, and now seems pretty pro vaping now. I think with my lung thing, it worried her. She was like, well, maybe you should stop vaping or slow down. But then as we're talking to pulmonologists and other doctors, they're just like, it's not that kind of tumor. We were effectively shut out of discussions. The media is biased here. Yeah, it's biased fucking everywhere, it seems like. I don't know if any of you all are familiar with 1400. It's it's like an online journalism magazine news site type of deal, but it's very much like old school journalism. They strictly report what happened. There's no opinion piece to it at all. It's just, this happened here, here's the people that were there, this is the times that it happened, this is what was said, that's it. No opinions are given on the matter. It has become my favorite news site on the internet. Deb, take it easy. I'm actually about to shut this down, guys. I've got to go to the store and I got to get ready for the live stream tonight. So there'll be another live stream this evening, probably around 10 or 11. It just depends on when I get everything done. I'm shooting for 10, but it'll be a live mixing stream. We're going to take a look. I did another milkshake recipe that I'm pretty interested to find out how well it comes out. Plus, we'll take a look at my Strasbourg, my silky Strasbourg pie, which is a strawberry raspberry rhubarb pie. And then also some lemon lime recipes. I've got a sour lemonade. It's a sour watermelon lemonade. It uses watermelon and flavorous sour apple. And then a couple of other lemon lime recipes I've got kind of in development. Plus, we'll take a look at a couple of other recipes in those profiles from other individuals. And then I'm sure we'll talk more about this too on tonight's live stream. If it wasn't for independent news outlets online, we'd have no idea just how hard our governments are fucking us. Yeah. Kind of sad that if you're rich enough, you can spend the money and make a mass amount of people believe what you're saying. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's incredible the amount of NPCs there are in the world that lack the ability of free thought. It's sad. Gotta get back to work too. Have a great one, Vape fam. Valerian Steel, brother. Take it easy. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. Like I said, there will be a live mixing stream tonight. I'm shooting for 10, but it may be 11. Just depends, but shooting for 10. Hopefully, eventually, I'll get everything as a solid fucking time every fucking week. But with work the way it is, and then also just my family schedule is a little hectic. It's going to have to kind of be liquid at the moment, but definitely live stream tonight, live mixing. Take a look at some pretty good recipes. I hope, at least mine. We'll see. I don't know. The silky Strasbourg pie is good, so I know that one's good. We'll see if the milkshake one's good too. But yeah, tune in later on tonight, guys. Thanks so much for the conversation, letting me vent about how absolutely fucking insane the Australian government is. Labworks, thank you so much for being in here and giving the perspective of an actual Australian on what the fuck going on. Plus, you are in the vape industry as far as your livelihood, and that is a perspective I definitely wanted. So hopefully I see you guys tonight. Vape on, and I'll catch you all in the next one that's later on tonight.